Hey, what's up everybody? This is Mayhem, and welcome to another installment of Talkbox Tutor. Today I'm going to be talking about how to build your own Talkbox and just kind of what the Talkbox is. I seem to get a lot of questions that seem to have a lot of confusion about what's actually going on with their Banshee, so and just Talkboxes in general. So I'm hopefully going to clear a few things up with that today, talking about how to make your own Talkbox. And I got to give a major shout out to Mr. Groove, Paul, my buddy, who kind of hooked me up with this setup. I didn't get it from him, but I got the plans from him and I built it myself, so thank you. Anyway, and if you want this Pro Series Talkbox, you can talk to Paul and he can hook it up for you, no problem. So anyway, let's talk about how to build this guy. And what a Talkbox is really. So essentially a Talkbox is just a speaker. There's a compression horn driver. It's a special kind of speaker, and there's a tube plugged into it. The tube goes into your mouth, and traditionally that's what a Talkbox has been. So the Heil Talkbox and the Golden Talkbox are just basically a compression horn driver inside of a box with a tube sticking out of it that goes into the speaker. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit about that and how that's kind of related to your Banshee. So because there's a speaker there, and you want to put sound into the speaker, somehow you have to drive the speaker. So for instance, my monitor speakers here for my computer, they have amps inside of them that drive them. When you listen to your stereo at home, there's an amplifier that drives the speaker somewhere. So in other words, when you play notes on your keyboard or your guitar and you plug that in a Talkbox, there's not enough power there to power the speaker. So in between the compression horn driver in the Talkbox and your sound source is usually an amplifier that can, supply the power needed to drive the speaker. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Banshee and how it's kind of like a non-traditional Talkbox in some sense. So this is the Rocktron Banshee. It's a really nice beginner Talkbox, or just a nice Talkbox in general. The thing that's great about the Banshee is that it's really rugged, it's compact, it's small, it's really easy to use, and that's really its main benefit. And the reason for that is that everything's inside of it already. There's already an amplifier and a compression horn driver inside. So this is the hole on the compression horn driver here, and there's a small, I think a 5-watt amplifier inside, or maybe it's 8-watt, I'm not sure. So there's a gain control, preamp gain, and you can control the tone a little bit, whether or not you want the high frequencies, and then the output gain of the amplifier too, you can control. So it's really nice, it's compact. So the Banshee sounds pretty good in most cases, but you can get a better sounding Talkbox for about the same price. So the Banshee runs about $100 or a little bit more, and the Talkbox I built here is about the same price if you shop for things on eBay and stuff. So anyway, now the Banshee's really good, so let's talk about how to replace those components with your own. So first I'm going to talk about the compression horn driver, and I have my Talkbox sitting right here. So you can see it's not really necessary, but I built my own enclosure for it. It's not completely done yet. I have yet to put this lid on completely, but it comes off there, and you can see what's inside. So this is a compression horn driver. This particular one is a horn driver from Pyle. It's a P-Y-L-E if you're interested. So things to look for in a nice compression horn driver are a good frequency response. So you want one that goes kind of low, maybe 500 hertz or 1000 hertz. Basically anything that's going to capture your voice. So your voice is about 500 hertz to about 2 to 4 kilohertz, 2 to 4,000 hertz. So you want something that is within that range, and this speaker is fine. So you want a speaker that's probably like 8 ohms, just anything that's compatible with an amplifier that your amplifier can drive. So going into the Talkbox, I have a couple different inputs here and a switch that switches between them. So some amplifiers have the stereo wire output that mine currently does. So I had an input that has that, and there's a switch that switches between that and a 1/4 inch input from possibly some other amplifier if I decided to switch, or maybe gig this or brought it over to a friend's house. He had a different amplifier that had this sort of connection on it, so I wanted that ability, so I just built that into the box, no big deal. So let's talk about the second component now, the tube. So somehow I have to connect this compression horn driver to a tube that goes to your mouth, and that's actually kind of difficult. Finding something that fits these threads is really difficult. You can buy a piece from Heil, from their Heil Talkbox. You can actually buy the piece that screws on here. It's a custom-made piece. You won't be able to find it anywhere like at Home Depot or anything. But you can buy it from them for 15 bucks, or you can try to make your own. And I tried to make my own with some stuff at Home Depot, and it worked out more or less. So you can see the contraption here. I found this PVC pipe connector in the gardening supplies. It's garden PVC pipe kind of in the plumbing area. So it has a hole that's it was a little less wide than the outside threads on this compression horn driver, so I had to sand it out a little bit, but it fits in there nicely. As you can see, it's really snug, so none of the sound escapes or anything. And then I reduced the hole on top with a series of tubes. So on the outside is a 3/4 inch OD diameter tube, has a 1/2 inch inner diameter, and then the tube that everybody uses really is a 1/2 inch OD and 3/8 inch ID. So this is vinyl tubing that you can pick up at Home Depot, no problem. So that takes care of that problem. Another way to do it is to use a hose barb that goes inside of this hole in the speaker, and it has like a little barb, kind of Christmas tree looking thing that you can push the hose onto, and it actually goes inside of this hole on your tube. But anyway, let me show you what my amplifier is now. I actually have a Radio Shack amplifier that I got off of eBay. It's an MPA 50, as you can see here. It has master volume over here. I'm going to put it up a little bit. Here's the input from my DX100. This is just the output from my DX100 going into one of the microphone inputs. This is a PA amplifier, so there's 2 microphone inputs, and you can change the gains on them. And there's also a phono input here for like CD player or something. There's a full EQ, 3-band EQ that's really nice, and you can really shape your sound with this EQ. And that's one of the things that's great about this Talkbox setup, is that how it differs from the Banshee is that in the Banshee you have one tone control, but you don't have a 3-band EQ. And with a 3-band EQ you can really shape the sound and bring out some high frequencies or push low ones down. Oops, I pushed the key there and it got really loud. But anyway, you can shape the sound a lot with the EQ, so that's really handy. So out of the amplifier I have this stereo wire that's connected to my Talkbox here. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and see how it sounds. So I'm going to go ahead and plug my hose in here, and just so you can hear it before I do anything with it, I'm using a patch that's based off of the hard brass patch on the DX100 here, so you can hear it. It's probably a little loud for my roommate, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. But I'll put that in, and now you guys can hear the sound as it is coming out of my Talkbox. Make that a little bit louder. So let's see how that sounds. Hey girl, let me talk to you. I don't know what it is between you and me. I know we shouldn't be together, but I just wanna be close to you. So there you go. Talkbox that sounds much better than the Banshee. I don't have it cranked up all the way, but let me let me do that here. Yeah. 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 So as you can see, it sounds really good. It's a nice clear tone. You can get it with the high band EQ there. You can kind of bump it up and get like high frequencies. But anyway, nice Talkbox. Sounds just as good and better than the Banshee for about the same price. Just a little elbow grease, and you can make your own. So again, massive shout out to Mr. Groove for supplying me basically what to buy for this Talkbox, and I have to give a shout out to Leon Newstar. The riff I just played there was from a new house record that he put out, so been talking to him recently. So thanks for watching Talkbox TV. I hope you tune in for another episode of Talkbox Tutor later.